This is a video which aims at giving hope, to people with chronic pain, especially if they have diseases such as scoliosis, Scheuermann, or other degenerative diseases. What we need to understand is that for every pain there is what we call a structural component, and next to that there is a functional component. What's the difference? Structural means something that you cannot change anymore unless you go through surgery, for example. So typically it can be something that you're born with, such as a different shape of your vertebrae, as we will discuss for Scheuermann, or it can also be, say, degeneration, which you cannot take back. But next to that, there is always a functional part. And the functional part is what you worsen due to your bad habits or due to your way to carry out your daily activities. Let me take the example of scoliosis. Scoliosis is twisted back. Yeah? So you see here, the muscles will be shortened and there will be pressure on the cartilage, and this asymmetry will cause muscle and joint pain. Now, what we also observe is that people who have scoliosis tend to fall into the scoliosis, meaning that they always lean on the same elbow, etc., etc. The structural part is the rigid part of the scoliosis, whether you're born with it or whether you have had it for so long that we will not be able to change it anymore. The functional part is the part that you're worsening by falling into asymmetric postures. I will not be able to change what's in the tissues, but I will be able to show you how to manage it. So we will not fix the causes, we will try to reduce the consequences. For example, we will observe that the structural part creates muscle strain. Well, there are ways to reduce muscle strain. There are stretching exercises, there are relaxation exercises, there are heat packs, there are TENS or EMS modalities, and there are other modalities. There's also massage, etc. For the functional part, well, we will have to work on exercises, we will have to work on your habits, we will have to work on what you do with your body, so that you don't, make things worse due to not being aware of what you do. Now, let's take the example of Scheuermann. Scheuermann is a disease in which your vertebrae are not like this, but they are a bit like that, like a wedge. The result of Scheuermann is that you're kind of born a bit like this, yeah? And what we observe is when people get older, that gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And as they end up looking at their feet, they need to extend the neck as much as they can to look forward. This is massive somersaults, lower back pain, neck pain, and everything. And you recognize here round shoulders posture that we have seen many other times on this channel. I cannot change the fact that your vertebrae are wedge-shaped. But what we can change is everything which you do forward, such as being on your smartphone, such as having your keyboard too far forward, etc., which will put oil on the fire. And next to that, we can also reinforce the mid-back muscles so that they are not taken by the shape of the vertebra, that they resist, and that therefore the base of the disease is much more controlled. A great exercise for people with Scheuermann disease to strengthen these mid-back spine extensors is that, you see, I make sure that my lower back is flat, I make sure that my chin is pulled inwards, and whilst maintaining that, I will bring my mid-back slightly downwards. Yeah? You barely see anything, you will mainly feel tension. And if I want to increase the tension, I will pull my elbows backwards like this. Yeah? This is really creating strain between my shoulder blades, and I have to hold this position for around a minute or so to really get good effects of that. This exercise is great for people with Scheuermann. Of course, it's great for anybody. I mean, it's part of my daily routine also. Discussing Scheuermann disease is actually a great opportunity to discuss the general issue of degenerative illnesses. An example of a degenerative illness is osteoarthritis. Yeah? We will all get osteoarthritis. The question is at which age, with which severity, and mainly what will be the pace. The pace can be like this, can be like that, and that will strongly depend on what I do with my body. And if you remember, this is the definition of functional. Meaning that if I use my body well throughout my daily activities, of course I will get osteoarthritis. We're all getting older. But this osteoarthritis will be much less disabling than if I don't care about the way I use my body. If I don't care about my posture, if I don't care about exercising, if I don't care about my habits, about ergonomics and all that, osteoarthritis will strike much faster, much quicker, much stronger than if I'm really careful with what I do with my body. Careful doesn't mean anxious, by the way. Anxiety is always useless. To conclude this video, I'd like to give you good news. Basically what I just told you is that there's always a cursor between structural, which I can only manage, and functional, which I can resolve. And the question is, where is the cursor for you? Often we don't have a precise answer. We work as much as we can on the functional part, and when we plateau, we consider that we've reached the structural part and that we should mainly focus on management now. But the good news is that there is always a functional part. In other words, none of the pains that you feel are 100% structural. None of them. Why? Simply because we all misuse our bodies. We all have habits that we can improve, whether we sit, whether we stand, whether we bend down, whether we carry, no matter what. There is always a margin for improvement as far as biomechanics is concerned, including for a professional as I am. I'm still working on it. Now I got a baby. At first I was always looking at him like this. Well, that was training my neck. So I learned that, okay, I should carry the baby around my belly button, whilst most of the time looking forward above him and not looking at him all the time. So, even as a professional, we face new situations, we learn new things, and by improving our habits, we slow down the pace of degeneration, we reduce the impact of the conditions that we have, and this is why, you should always bear in mind that we're not aiming at perfection, we're aiming at improvement. We're aiming at making things better one day after the other. And what matters is not to be 100% perfect, because we cannot get there. What matters is to improve 1% by day.